Like a lot of people, Animal Crossing New Horizons has consumed pretty much my entire life. Like, I know I haven't posted as frequently during this quarantine, and that's because I've been here on this little island called Sanctuary. Yeah, I named it after Sanctuary Hills in Fallout 4 as a callback to the build that I did there that took me like months to complete, which is pretty spot on because after spending nearly 200 hours playing Animal Crossing, my island is now complete. I finally reached a 5-star rating, and more importantly, I got my island where I want it. It's done, and I finally get to show you guys what I've been up to. Alright, so I'm going to give you guys a tour around the island and talk about how and why I did certain things, just to give you a few ideas and to, show it off because I need external validation. So I wanted my island to be sort of realistic. There's a lot of crazy things that you can do in this game, but I wanted mine to be a little more practical. So like right when you get off the airport, I built this little trading post because I have a lot of people that I don't know come to visit to do some trading, and I didn't want to be like savages, just dropping things on the ground. So I built up this little area with a stall, an extra table, a crafting bench, and a sign so they know exactly where to go. But people only use this like a third of the time, so it's mainly just for looks. If we keep going right, we go further into the city area. So up here is where the main building is, and right below it is the cafe, which I love the way that this came out. This looks like a place I would actually want to visit, like I got this coffee grinder, some plants, some outdoor seating right by the beach. It makes me want to leave my house and go places. One thing I want to point out is that since this is the city area, I try to make this look like a public beach, where it's busier and a little more uniform. So I have a lot of these matching chairs and tables and like a volleyball. But on the other side, the more countryside of the island, the beaches are private and a little more barren, which I'll show you that side in a little bit. I just kind of wanted to point that out. Next to the cafe is the museum. Now this museum is pretty hardcore. I don't know if you guys have seen all of the inside of it, but it's crazy. Like they did not need to go that hard on the museum. The first time I went in there, I was like, okay, this place deserves a moat around it. Like I wanted the outside to reflect how awesome the inside is. So I built a moat, put down these lights and some fossils on display around it, and just try to make it look cool. Above the museum are both of the shops. I like keeping all the main buildings pretty close to each other, and a big thing for me is spacing. So like for the city, I want to make sure that if I'm standing in front of the museum, you can see the shops on both sides pretty equally spread apart. It just makes it look fuller and more like a town to me. Just past the shops are a couple of my favorite areas over here. So the first one is the music venue. I'm a musician myself, so this place like really speaks to me. I just love the outdoor island venue kind of vibe, especially with these palm tree lamps. It just does something for me. I don't know, I like it. And the second one is the boardwalk. I think all of our islands have an area like this. It's like a little peninsula sticking out, and I didn't really know what to do with it since it's kind of an awkward space, but these stalls fit perfectly over here, and they give me a reason to use these weirder items like the magician's sets, the fortune teller, stuff that you would probably see on a boardwalk, the cartoonist for caricatures. Oh my god, I didn't know it lit up. So before I go further up, I'm going to backtrack a little so you can see some of the houses. This area across the main bridge are the suburbs since they're right outside the city. Yeah, I know, I'm getting a little crazy here. And with all these houses on the island, I was torn between putting different kinds of furniture outside just to give them a little bit more character. But I feel like it looks really good with just some fences, flowers, and maybe 1 or 2 chairs or something pretty basic like a grill or a clothesline or just something minimal so there's not too much going on. Okay, so now we're back to where we were. You see the music venue is just across this bridge. And I didn't really do anything on the beach over here. I might add a couple of chairs or something, even though I kind of like it untouched since the rest of the island is really built up. So we'll see. Taking these stairs leads to one of my favorite parts of the island. This is where I put the campsite with a few decor items around it. And if you're curious about where I got this sign, if you played Animal Crossing Pocket Camp on your phone, you can go on there and get a code to redeem on the Nintendo Switch eShop, which will give you some really cool items that you can order, this sign being one of them. Yeah, I had no idea about that until a couple of days ago, so I figured I'd share. Attached to the campsite is this park with a pond and a little walking path that goes all the way around it. It was just a lot of fun to make, with like this picnic area, the telescope, like a little bench. It's all just very peaceful, it makes me miss going to parks and ponds and outside and seeing people and being a person. Everything's fine. I'm fine. It's fine. I'm fine. If we go down, this leads back to the suburb area. You'll notice that I tried to keep everything connected. I don't like having to backtrack, so I made sure that there were plenty of ways of getting around. But going up this way is the orchard. I didn't want this area outside of it to be wasted space, so I put a few things down like a water bucket and some tools to look like something that would be used to maintain the orchard. And of course this workbench. I like having workbenches all around the island so I don't have to keep going back to one spot, you know? So I have one here, one at the front in the trading post, one in my house, and one over in the farm. Yeah, sorry, there's a farm that we haven't gotten to yet, so I guess spoilers, maybe? The orchard is pretty intense. It's kind of hard to see, so I broke it up halfway through and changed the direction of the trees to make it look a little more interesting as you're passing through it, you know. And I did the same thing on this side as the front, so just a couple of items that could be used for working over here. Now I know I've been tooting my own horn a lot through this tour. I mean, it's really not me, it's the game. The game is beautiful and it makes it easy to get things to look good. But this area over here is like my pride and joy, dude. It's so serene, and I don't even know what it's supposed to be. Like, this is an outdoor bath, so maybe an outdoor bath area or like a hot tub or something. I don't know. Whatever it is, it's so damn peaceful, and I love coming up here. For the next area though, this game is very wholesome and cute, I guess. So I wanted to throw in a cemetery, you know, to make it a little morbid, to balance out all the sunshine and rainbows. But of course, the game found a way to turn it into the most beautiful spot on the island. I mean, look at this. All these flowers, all these black roses that fit perfectly over here. I didn't do that. They just randomly showed up, and they make this whole area look amazing. So yeah, I guess never mind my dreams. Coming down this way leads to a bonfire area with a hodgepodge of chairs so people can sit around and look at, you know, fire. And if we go left, this leads to the public pool. Now, I didn't like this area at first, but after I got these chairs and like the coconut drinks, I started to come back around. I think I just didn't like how small the pool is, but you know, any bigger and it would take up too much space. So, you know, I can't be pleased. Now, as promised, coming down this way leads to the farm. It was originally supposed to be a garden, but you know, the cemetery kind of took on that role, and plus this ground texture I'm using looks more like a farm anyway, so I just went with it. By the way, these little bags here are actually cushions with a custom texture on them to make them look like bags of soil, which wasn't my idea, by the way. I just saw it online and thought it was pretty cool, but I'll put all the codes to the custom textures I'm using in the description so you guys can check them out. Now, the last couple of areas are all residential. So down here is the country area because they're the furthest away from the city, you know, out here in the boonies. I didn't change the design or the layout though. I just kept the same fences and flowers because, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And see, down here are the private beaches, so they're not uniform at all. I got a couple of lawn chairs and like a surfboard, a fire pit. It's just a little bit homier. Working our way back to the right are the city residents because these houses are right next to the city and one of the first things that you see when you get out of the airport. Now, what I'm going to do is create a second account so I can have another house on the island. I'm going to put it right here and turn it into a restaurant with a hotel upstairs and a bar downstairs. I'm hoping it's going to be really cool, so that's going to be my next project. And the last spot I want to show you guys is the outside of my house. I'm going to do a full tour of the inside in a separate video pretty soon. So if you want to see that and more videos like this, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss it. But this is my house. I have a nice little outdoor pool area that overlooks not one but two waterfalls back here. And I got really lucky with the placement. My house is literally in the middle of the island. Like if I go over this way, it leads to the bonfire area, and coming back to the other side leads to the suburbs, which is awesome because I can get around the island pretty easily. Now, I've been wanting to get my island to a 5-star rating for a while, and while I was designing the orchard, I found a couple of these white flowers, and I didn't know what they were. So I googled them, and apparently they're called lily of the valley, and they only show up every few days once your island becomes 5 stars. Yeah, that's a pretty badass way of finding out that my island was 5 stars. So anytime I see one of these flowers, I pick them up and plant them here along my driveway, you know, just over here flexing on everybody. But that's it for the tour. I appreciate you guys watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. But thanks again, and I'll talk to you soon.